Hi everybody, I'm Danielle and welcome to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be telling you guys the most frequently asked questions that I get about my tattoos. Now I do understand that when people ask questions about my tattoos, quite a lot of the time people have no issues with my tattoos. They are simply just being curious and asking questions. So the first and probably most obvious question that people will ask people with tattoos is, did it hurt? Yes, of course it hurts. You cannot go into a tattoo studio and get a tattoo done and expect it not to hurt. No matter where you get tattoos done, it's going to hurt. It's just some places hurt more than others. The second question that I tend to get is, what does it mean? A lot of people seem to think that when someone has tattoos, every single one of them has to have like this really crazy in-depth meaning. Now, personally for me, all of my tattoos have a meaning. We need to remember that people get tattoos for several different reasons, and tattoos aren't going to always have a meaning to them. Some people just get them done because they fell in love with the designer at a studio and they just really wanted it tattooed on them. Are you going to regret your tattoo when you're older? And I never really know how to answer this question when I get asked it, because I can't see into the future. I know that over time we change as people. At the moment, I really love every single one of my tattoos and I don't regret getting any of them. Will I say the same in the future? I hope so, but I don't know. Question number 4 is, how long did it take? Tattoos can literally take 20 minutes till hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. It just depends on the size of the piece, the amount of detail that's in the piece, and how well the appointment itself goes. A tiny tattoo can take ages if you start not feeling well, for example, during the appointment and you ask to take a break. Things like that. Number 5 is, why do you get tattoos? And again, this is another one that I kind of struggle to answer because people get tattoos for different reasons. Personally, I like to get tattoos because I've wanted tattoos since I was very young. I also get them because I happen to find them extremely pretty. I do see them as art. It's just art that is permanently inked on the body rather than art on a canvas, for example. They tell a story, and I know that all of those are really stereotypical, classic answers that people will give you when you ask that kind of question, but it's totally the truth. But just bear in mind that people get tattooed for numerous different reasons. Tattoos don't have to mean anything. They might just like the look of tattoos and just want to get tattoos done. Other people have been planning it for years and years since they were like this little kid. Question number 6 is, how do I get the money together to get my tattoos? And the simple answer to this is, if you really want something, you will save up for it and get it done. So for some of my tattoos, I've had to save up for months in advance. Another similar question that I get asked is, so how much of all of your tattoos costed you? Question number 7 is, what does the pain feel like? And this is something that I struggle to describe, and I think that this is the same with quite a lot of other tattooed people. When they get asked this question, they're not quite sure how to describe it. I definitely don't know how to describe it. It is definitely something that you yourself need to feel. Some people describe it as several pinpricks at a time. Other people describe it as scratching. Other people describe it as a burning sensation. It purely just depends on the person. If you're gonna cope with the pain of being tattooed very well, you might just describe tattoo pain as a pinprick. Whereas other people who are maybe aren't good at dealing with tattoo pain, I feel like if you ask them that question, they'll be like, oh well, it was the most horrific pain of my life. feels like this horrible burning, scratching, dying sensation? I think that those two questions kind of really go hand in hand with each other, because I do feel like how somebody deals with pain and how well they can handle it really is going to impact their answer to what the pain feels like. Next question is, any tips for my first tattoo? In this particular video, I won't be answering it because I'm actually going to be doing a whole separate video on tips for your first tattoo and things like that. So I'm not going to be answering that specific question because I feel like I need to do a whole other separate video on it. Where did you go and get your tattoos done? I go to a few different artists. Sometimes I go over to Middlesbrough, sometimes I stay here in Darlington and go to a studio here. I will tell them the studios that I've been to, but then I will always say to them, you yourself need to research into the studios, into the artists there, and you really need to think about the kind of tattoo you want and what the artists specialize in. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to go to an artist and say you want this beautiful black and grey portrait, but the artist that you're speaking to is specializing in something totally different, at the end of the day, if you're not going to take advantage of what a certain artist is really good at, then you might not get the results that you really wanted for your tattoo. The second from last question is, what do my family, friends and boyfriend think of my tattoos? They're not against tattoos, they just don't like tattoos. The final question is, do you work? People see that you're tattooed, however, they immediately think of employability. I do have a job, and my job are they don't seem to be too bothered about piercings, tattoos, body mods, things like that. I do understand that having tattoos does make a person a little bit more difficult to employ, because a lot of companies and businesses look at somebody with tattoos and automatically kind of feel like, oh well, they're criminals and they obviously got these tattoos when they were in jail and all of that kind of stuff, which is totally wrong of them to think that. A lot of people seem to think that because you have tattoos, you are pretty much unemployable. And although a lot of companies will not employ people with tattoos, there are other companies that will, and that do appreciate body modifications. So don't put everybody with tattoos in the same basket of, oh well, they all must be unemployed and they all must not want to work, because that is definitely not the case. So that is it. That is all the questions that I get about my tattoos. What questions do you guys get about your tattoos? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave it a thumbs up, and if you're new here, click on that subscribe button. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.